Demba Jimden and the Shenshaba Dajamba Zobe Sanje Riva Dansha Deverish Jidin Jamba Jibon de Kano Jibon Ladam Milan Jedamba Sanje Jumden Bejawa Shaja Tubana Chats and Roger Jabs Demba Jimden and the Shenshaba Dajamba Zobe Sanje Riva Dansha Deverish Jidin Jamba Jibon de Kano Jibon Ladam Milan Jedamba Sanje Jumden Bejawa Shaja Tubana Chats and Roger Jabs Demba Jumden the Shenshaba Dajamba Zobe Sanje Rivada Shazun Demon, the Varishavan Jidin, Juma, Kalojuma, Lanameba, Hatan, Benanjit, Sanjisham, Pejava Shajatoba, Nachan, Rochodo, Jasusia, Kanzekanya, Zova, Jatman, Sea, Sanjent, Manajident, and Churches on the Zekavajan, Nanda Gungacho, Susan, Yeshija, Sergio, Chavan Jedesum, Lanameba, Gombochoni, Jonas Hausen. Senjon de Machimen, Davish, Sando Lava Jonas House. The General Sivasoma, Jenyaman, Jonas House. Mombotuji said and Batum Jim, Tomba, Sonomy, and Danger. The Shinjana Shahaz and Otaban, the Jachawa, you giving a soon. Children tell them, Jojo was a Jojo, Shahaz and Otana, Lava Tana. Shingatama, and then get them on your Shahaz, the Wachim. Give up his own Zavajan gets in the Yoso de Tennis Sanjet. Kamara Jima, Meda Jumasa, Sugar, Melon, Juna. The Shajan on the Terratas on the Tonjes, when you command them the Jajan. Gadanana Shivella, Jubesives, and over show.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct. Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate and make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When supreme among humans you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then I prostrate, with pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to thusness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the four faults, and be delivered from the ocean of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
So I think I'm going to read from this page 405, stated in the sutra. This is as stated in the sutra. The aggregates are devoid of intrinsic nature and empty. Enlightenment is devoid of intrinsic nature and empty. The one who partakes in them is devoid of intrinsic nature and empty. This is known by those who with pristine notices, not by the childish. So they will know the nature of the gnosis itself to be empty, and having known the nature of the knowable to be empty, when they understand the known to be same as the knower, I say they are traversing, right? Traversing and the path of enlightenment. So, like in the Heart Sutra, Gati-gatis, traversing on the path of enlightenment, Gati-gatis, the gone or go, is what you say. So there is no actual, it's a conventionally there's a going, right? Gone, paragati, gone further, yeah. And the parasamgati, bodhi is so. Go beyond and settle in the bliss, right? Samgati, bodhi is swahas. So now the traversing the path of enlightenment. So the mind actually kind of trying to settle into that absence of intrinsic existence. So that absence of intrinsic existence, the aggregates, the 5 aggregates, the body, feeling, perceptions, and the thoughts, all of them are empty of intrinsic existence. And so your goal, what you want to achieve, enlightened being or enlightenment or nirvana or the arahat, your goal is to absence of intrinsic existence and empty. One who partakes in them, the devoid of one, you are the one who also meditating with emptiness. 2 is absence of intrinsic existence. So this kind of known by those with pristine gnosis, one who has the wisdom to reveal the ultimate natures, not by the childish, childish. So I think the consciousness is the one who trying to reach in that the ultimate truth is the meaning of go, or gone beyond, right? Settle in the bliss. So they, in another, so they will know the nature of the gnosis itself to be empty, having known the nature of the knowable to be empty. When they understands the known to be same as the knower, I say they traversing, right, in the path of enlightenment. So this is what Buddha meant, gati, paragati, parasamgati, bodhi, so go beyond. So it's not talking about the physical or the path you are just walking on. It's a mind that right now, in the samsaric mind or the ordinary mind, which is scheming on the superficial and the mental projections. So we are trying to, trying to reach the ultimate state. So the way you try to reach the ultimate state and try to understand and bring your mind closer to that ultimate state is the meaning of the gone beyond. So therefore, this questions about the absence of intrinsic existence of the things is not something to be disputed and argued with the yogis. So now they're saying that you can just bring the argument that says because the yogis, wisdom concentrating on the emptiness is finding nothing. Everything is absence of intrinsic existence. Therefore, I say that implies in the reality, there's nothing exists. So in this way, you cannot argue like that, because the yogas, the wisdom, the understand emptiness is objective analyze and finding nothing objectively existing. And then ordinary and then everyday life, we say, I saw this, I hear this, I smell this. This is what is not talking about objectively. It is subjectively. You can see things, you can hear things. You hear the sounds and smell and taste and the touch. So it's a relatively or subjectively. The yogi sees nothing is because yogi try to see what is objectively exist. So objectively not exist at all and subjectively existing has, there is no contradictions. It's the same meaning because nothing objectively exists. If something, if something should exist, it has to be exist relatively or subjectively, right? So something subjectively, relatively exists, therefore it is not objectively exist. So no such entity objectively groundable, within the basis. So therefore, you cannot argue like, because ultimately nothing exists. Therefore, how can you say there is a law in cause and effect? How can you say there's a karma? How can you say there's a compassion that sees the sentient beings? As for the yogi, they do not cease even on the conventional levels. The conventional existence, even the color, sound, smell, the yogi, through his wisdom that realizing emptiness, from the point of view of the wisdom, there is even no smell, no taste, no textures. So any intrinsic natures established by the virtue of an essence in relation to any phenomena, and on the ultimate level, they see nothing at all. Because if something exists, it has to be relatively. Relatively existing means not objectively exists, therefore it's relatively exist. So you, the proponents of the intrinsic arising, so Siddhantic school, mind-only school, the kind of the propounds, the phenomena are exist intrinsically, should forget about looking at those with the eye, disordered, as someone to dispute and argue with. So eye with disease can see, the bald man can see the hair falling, falling here. So they cannot say, because I saw it, then I must have a hair, right? For now, instead, you need to dispute and argue with your own self. So we say, if indeed such unarisen things as a dream object, Gandhara city, mirage water, magical illusions, mirror reflections, and so on can be seen. So these all can be seen. Given they too are non-existing, just like the son of barren woman, how it is you see this, how is it you see this, but not the others? Now, I think this is, for us, it's very logical question. So now, when the Buddha says there's no aggregates and self, in even the person who is meditating with emptiness all of them as totally absence of intrinsic existence. They are not arisen, they do not die, there's no disintegrations, and there's no arising. So then we say, and how about, in a conventional? And we say conventionals relatively exist. So relatively existings are not intrinsic. There is no intrinsic property in a conventional reality. Then what does it look like? And it's look like a dream, magical illusions, mirror reflections, So when you say that, and then does that mean the conventional realities do not exist in the reality? It's just a dream object, they do not exist in the reality. So if everything is like that, but still you see all the time, right? And why don't you see the son of the barren woman? Why don't you see, sky flowers? Why don't you see, the harvest in the sky? So you see this, and why not you are seeing others? So both are not exist.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost saying like, if there is no intrinsic, basically all those things are impossible things to exist. The sky flower can't exist, the barren woman can't exist. So if all things are absent of that, why are these impossible things also not possible, right? Is that what it's kind of...
Yeah, the question here is, because I have all, by listening to the Buddha's teachings, the Buddha says nothing intrinsic can exist. Aggregates of the self of the person, or emptiness, or the meditating, the person who is meditating emptiness, all of them are absence of intrinsic existence. That is what I meant traversing in enlightenment, right? So this is what I meant, attain nirvana, go beyond samsara, right? So when this had been said, and then the question is, in what sense that you see there is something to be seen, there is something to be heard, smell and taste and touch. And then says, oh, all of these are, mirage-like. This is like mirage-like, this is like a dream-like object. This is a magicianal illusion. So then I interpret that, so if you are relating the conventional reality with dream-like and magicianal illusions, so they are actually do not exist in the reality. So if the color, sound, smell, taste, textures are what you said so far, it is like a dream-like object. So therefore, which means the color, sound, smell, taste, they are not exist in the reality. So, but you see every day. So if non-existing, it's equal like a son of the barren woman, and why don't you see often the son of the barren woman, a rabbit horn, sky flower? Why do you see the color, sound, smell, taste, textures? So this is, then this question is based on, because you have, when you say color, sound, smell, taste, textures are like illusion, magicianal illusions, dream-like object, and then, you interpret that, but that means it's not exist in the reality. Now question is, does reflections, mirror reflections, or magicianal illusions, all these are not exist in the reality? So if not exist in the reality, so does that mean the magicianal cannot conjure those, magicianal illusions? And does that mean there's the audience cannot be entertained in magicianal illusions? Does that mean people can see their face through the reflections? Does you mean that there's no reflection to see? Because illusion like, reflection like means to you is not exist in the reality. Right? So now if you say, oh, magician illusions exist, there is objectable as knowable objects. It is the object that experience perceived by the audience. It is the object that conjured by the magician. So which means is the product. It is exist. Now it's not exist, it is not as true as appears.
Almost like there's a difference between something existing and something being real.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, unreal does not mean it's not exist at all. Right. Unreal does not mean it's not exist at all. A lie does not mean it's not exist at all. Right. So lie, therefore it exists. Unreal, therefore it can deceive. So unreal, lie are product. It is the reality. It is a relative existence. So if you interpret those unreal and lie means not exist, then we may bring these arguments, right? So if the Buddha says everything is absence or intrinsic existence, ultimately there's nothing at all. And how can you say there's a color to see, the smell, and taste, and textures? So if you understand and accept that, illusion-like reflections, dreamed objects are product. They are not true as it appears, but they do exist. So we kind of try to answer these questions, given they too are non-existing, just like the son of the barren woman. How is it you see this, but not the others? So, although the things do not arise in ultimate reality, unlike the son of barren woman, so they do serve as object perceived in the context of everyday world. Now this is the answer. Right. Although they do not exist or do not arise in ultimate reality, unlike the son of the barren woman. Son of the barren woman not only not has a non-existing in the ultimate, even in the conventional, it not exist. So the color, sound, smell, the dream object reflections, they may not ultimately exist, but they exist in the conventional. I think this is kind of very challenging for the minority school and Chandrakirti school, because once you negate the things existing in the convention as ultimately not existing, so like negating the intrinsic property, and for them it is almost the same as things do not exist in the reality. So you see the difference, the unique kind of in the Prasangika school. What is the unique in the Prasangika school? Prasangika school says conventional, it's not real, but it exists. So this is like, I can't believe this is butter. It's the same. Yeah, but it exists. You can taste it. So, from the noble beings, it sees everything is, I can't believe this is butter. I can't believe this is the color. I can't believe this is the sound. You know. So I'm always thinking that, you know, so when you kind of try to understand the absence of intrinsic existing of color, sound, smell, taste, textures, we say the color do not exist intrinsically, but it relatively exists. That is, it is unreal, but it exists. So what do you mean by unreal? Because it's unreal because we see, when you see color, there is the color. Mm-hmm. Almost you thought, I can pinpoint. Mm-hmm. So which means for you, the color, when it appears to your eye consciousness, it seems to be existing by itself, in and of itself. So that is not real. Right? Now this has to be, then I think that's maybe it's too easy to say that, but if you say, and how does color really exist before the eye consciousness? And what are the conditions that, they create the appearance of the color? And you say, eye sense power, and the space, and the light, and the form. So I think this much, Jose. Maybe Nagarjuna's in the sutra, according to sutra, explain kind of very roughly, say because of the space and light and form and eye sense power, and you can perceive the color. So these are the conditions that conjure the color to be existing before the eye consciousness. But eye consciousness is not derived from, not from the light, not from the space, not from the form, not from the, eye sense faculty. So then the question is, what is that form? So eye consciousness, which conditioning, what is that form? So then, according to the 70 stanzas, it's almost like there is potential element. The potential element is referring here as a form. The potential elements, is it water, it is the sun, or it is the heat? And we say no, it's a potential element. So the potential element, and what is the kind of outcome of the potential elements? Outcome of potential elements, in the context of the eye consciousness is the color. The outcome of that potential element in the context with, with no sense power is a smell. The potential elements, with relation to the ear sense power is a sound. So therefore, the color, sound, smell, taste, textures, 70 stanzas is, it's implying that these are the derivative element. This is, for the eye is a color, for the ear is the sound, for the nose is the smell, for the tongue, is the taste, for the body is the textures. Now we say, what is that potential element? It is, you say it is a form. So how this form, it is independent from your consciousness. It is independent from your independent from your eye sense power. Now that's very hard to say.
Because potential elements to be a form.
Yeah, it's a form because it moves. You know, the waves, the particles, they move. You know. So then the waves that with context of the light and space and eye sense power, it conjures the color. So I think that kind of so then what we call those potential elements is a deductive form. So deductive form means, you know, the form that you cannot touch, you cannot smell, you cannot see, but you know, hypothetically, you can hypothesize the existing of the form, and it is the form, it has the motion. So is a mental object, form, but it's mental objects. So maybe those atoms, the particles, molecules, I don't know, can be seen through your eyeball. You know. So most of them cannot be seen, but we hypothesize. You know, this is only exists in that manner. Then the question is you know, is this the potential elements? It is, you know, separate or the different from your eye sense faculty? Probably we cannot really, you know, surely say that it is independent. So the you know, potential elements has no particular location. So yeah, then it says you should ask yourself this: if indeed such unarisen things as a dream object, like a dream horse, a dream house, dream houses, and Gandharva city, mirage water, a man and woman conjure through magical illusions, mirror reflections of the face, and so on, which includes echoes, magical emanations, and can be seen, how it is that they see these but not others. The son of the childless woman, given they too are equally non-existent. So this is illogical. You should argue with yourself in this way. And afterward, you can see then come. After you can see then come and argue with me. So first you. Chandrakirti is mean.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it, you know, Prasangic schools, they got tired with arguing with Satantic school, my own school. So first you go back in your home, just, you know, analyze well, and then come back to me. So what I'm saying is, the main point is, because once you say that these are not real, and for them, it is equal to non-existence. You know, when they interpret it non-existing, so then is the argument. You know. So in the Nagarjuna's chapter 18, yeah, I think, yeah. So there is this, Nagarjuna has mentioned that, how, in what sense
what really drives to those essential school to continue to argue, disputing with Prasangika school. And the Nagarjuna says, oh, that's because if you are not clear the meaning of the nirvana, the purpose of the emptiness, and if you are not really, you have no clear understanding of what emptiness means, and and then you have no clear meaning of how's that? What can be exist if everything is not intrinsically exist. The purpose of the emptiness is to end the cyclic existence, to end the birth in cyclic existence. And emptiness itself, is mere absence. It's just a space. It's just the mere space, that absence of intrinsic existence. And then, what could exist when everything is absence of intrinsically exist? And then we says relatively existing. So if you don't understand that purpose, the nature of the emptiness, the meaning of the emptiness, then you continuously dispute with this, the meaning of the why is things are absence of intrinsic existence. Because, the meaning of the absence of intrinsic existence, it does not gives you any kind of understanding of there could be exist something relatively. If emptiness gives you the actual meaning of understanding the relativities, then you may not argue with Prasangika school. So although things such as form do not arise in the terms of ultimate reality, unlike the son of the barren woman, they do serve as an object of perceived in the context of the everyday world. So that's, therefore, your argument, if things do not exist in ultimate level, they would then be, unseeable even in the conventional level. Just like the son of the barren woman, remain as inconclusive, or the, flawed reasoning. Flawed, right? How do you pronounce that, flawed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Buddha too says, I think unseeable even in the conventional reality, because you interpret that absence of intrinsic existing is equal to non-existence. So then it's become like same as a son of the barren woman. I think they should have some kind of sense of, some kind of doubt, ambiguity. There's Nagarjunas, Buddha Palitas, Chandrakirtis. So they are 100%, kind of sees that things are absence of intrinsic existence. At the same time, they have indestructible, the pure faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And they have always, have so, there's a convictions, having faith in this law and cause effect. So you may think that they negate absence of intrinsic existence. How can they have so much faith, pure faith in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha? Which means, they empty the absence of intrinsic existence. They are not negating, the existing of the reality. So the Buddha too says that beings are spoken of as dreamlike. They are not presented in terms of the reality. While no entities exist in a dream, someone with distorted mind cling to them. So the sentient beings are dreamlike existence, so they're not presented in terms of reality. So they do, sound or the color or sound, smell, and any of those could not really exist by their own essence. They don't exist out there, calling for you to see or smell, this. But, and then this is why the sentient being constantly, clinging to the self of the person that, that conditions sentient beings in, getting emotional, angry and attachment and jealousy and arrogance and deluded pride. So these are all because they see the self of the person as something intrinsic property. In whatever way one might perceive the Gandhara city, no such city exists in the 10 directions or elsewhere. So Gandhara city, so the Gandhara's people or those spirit, yes, they all kind of commonly see the city, and wherever they go, wherever they touch, and then it reflects in their mind as there's a whole city there. So that cities, when they leave that place, that city is not destroyed, and that city is not going to anywhere, and no came from anywhere, right? But still disappears when the seer is not there, an object to see is, all, it just disappears when the subject is not there. So this city remains in name only. The Tathagata sees the sentient beings like this. So now this is pretty much like mirror reflections. Mirror reflections is not shifted from somewhere else, not going to move to somewhere else. It just instantly appears when the mirror and the face have a contact. When the face encounters the mirror and the reflection appears, the reflection is not shifted or moved from somewhere else, not going to somewhere. So in this way, all phenomena is like reflections. Though someone thinking of the water might see it, there is no water in a mirage. But you can see because you have the eye sense faculties that can, this not damage. It can catch the reflections, and there is outside of the, outside your eye, there is the what do you call it? There's the proper conditions, the heat, the sun heat, and time in the afternoon, and the how's that hot sand together that creates the mirage. So mirage is just being born, and you have the eye sense powers, which is not damaged. It can catch the reflections. With that, you can see the water in the mirage. So water in the mirage, seeing water in the mirage, water-like mirage, right? Water-like phenomena is seeing water-like phenomena is because of the eye sense power and condition that outside of the eye consciousness, and then and the perceiving them as a real water is due to the misconceptions, due to the longing for water. Likewise, someone stirred up by fantasies see the what is not beautiful as beautiful, just as on the surface of the clear mirror, a reflection appears as a face. So that is the devoid of intrinsic reality. So, this I don't know, drama, understand all to be likewise. Yeah, this is the very, it's not easy. So you have to understand everything that you see, smell, hear is like looking at the reflections. Has no essence at all. By the force of many things together, it's something that creates the reflections. So as shown in this scripture quotations, form and so on, while intrinsically unarisen, do become the object of perceptions in the everyday world. So, which is not the case with the son of the barren woman. The son of the barren woman is not the object of perceptions in the everyday world. So, which means it's not conventionally, conventionally knowable object. So this dispute remains unsolved only for you. As for us, there is no dispute about this matter. We do not assert intrinsic arising in relation to the form and so on the conventional level, and then negate it on the ultimate level. So now here saying I think this is the trying to if something that exists conventionally truth and you negate ultimately, then this is like knife and the tomato. Before night, the tomato is there, is a whole solid tomato. And after cut by the knife, it becomes kind of sliced into 2 pieces. Before it is just 1, and after cutting it becomes 2. So, which means with knife it changed into something else. Without that, it is just 1. So, if you think the conventional reality and ultimate truth is like, 2 different, what I call it, 2 different dichotomy, object. Then, these 2 they contradict, and ultimately there's nothing exists. Conventionally, everything is truly exist. So the Prasangika school says we even negate, even in conventionally, in conventionally there is no color intrinsically exists. Otherwise, your emptiness is not emptiness of the, not the actual kind of emptiness. The emptiness is we are not saying, the black is empty of white. So the black is empty of white, male is empty of a woman, female, or table is empty of cup and plate. So this is not the emptiness, right? This is you are emptying on something which is not empty. The table is empty of cup and plate. You're trying to prove that there is no cup and plate on that table which is not empty, right? So if now conventional and ultimate is not a 2 different things, they are exactly the same, because things are relatively exist. Therefore, that is the only reason nothing intrinsically exists. Nothing intrinsically existing, therefore, things should exist relatively. So, emptiness of the color is the emptiness of the color is the empty of color itself, not the color. Emptiness of color is empty of smell, right? Yeah. So. Arising in relation to the form and general conventional level, and then negate it on the ultimate level. So I think Siddhantika school and the Mayana school, they kind of, think that, medieval autonomous school, they think things do exist intrinsically. There is intrinsic property in the things. The reason is if thing can exist, the exist means exists where? Exists there. It's almost you can just pinpoint. So in Siddhantika school and the Mayana school, if there's a nothing you can pinpoint. So which means it is not objectively exist, it's not substantially exist. So if anything that exists, it has to be objectively exist. And it's, substantial. If not substantial, not objectively, cannot be pinpointed, which means to them, that means is equal to non-existence. But still, when they wear sunglasses, they understand. With these sunglasses, I can see, the sunglasses black, I can see everything there's darkness, right? And there's some kind of darkness there. If I wear the sunglasses with yellow, and I can see everything yellow, right? That does not mean there's some kind of yellows you can pinpoint, objectively exist. So maybe those minority Sudan school never wore sunglasses. So minority school master, we should offer sunglasses to them. Say, so how do you see things? Yeah. So presenting that point by way of summary. Before there's a rebutting objections against the refuting intrinsic existence. So kind of absence of intrinsic existence is not against with conventional realities. Now he's saying, so the presenting the point by way of summary. So conclusions. In itself, the son of the barren woman has no arising either in the reality or in the context of the everyday world. So that means is non-existing. Non-existing, which means not exist in the both conventional and ultimately. So likewise, all things do not arise end of themselves. Likewise, what is the equal non-existence? Intrinsic existing of the color, intrinsic existing of smell and sound and taste and textures. So those are equal the son of the barren woman, not exist ultimately, not even exist conventionally. So now when we say intrinsic, intrinsic existing of color is non-existing, but the color do exist relatively. So that is the kind of presenting the point by way of summary. So either through their essence or in terms of the everyday world. So what is not exist, arises in and of themselves, arising in and of itself, and by itself, intrinsically, inherently, independent. So all of them not exist in the both conventional and ultimate world. Therefore, the Buddha declared that all phenomena are primordially tranquil, right? And devoid of arising, and that they transcend the bounds of the soul. Thus, things have no arising at any time. So, therefore, the Buddha declared that all phenomena are primordially. I think usually Nyawar Shiva means is sometimes what's that? Yeah, primordial from the first place. From the first place, things never exist intrinsically. Right from the beginning, from the beginning, nothing exists intrinsically, and from the beginning, so which means there is no there is no cause and condition to make the emptiness, because it's by nature, so everything is absolutely intrinsic. So So emptiness is not because of after the Buddha, after Buddha taught and everything become emptiness. No, from the beginning, right from the beginnings, primordially the tranquil and the devoid of arising, and that they transcend the bounds of the soul. That absence of intrinsic existence, specifically the consciousness that experience directly that absence of intrinsic existence is exactly the same, when the Arhat consciousness experience the nirvana. So when we, as ordinary sentient beings, we intellectually first understand the absence of intrinsic existence. Where you look into that empty, it's almost you're looking nirvana through the window. So then you go closer and closer, and when you become, inseparable, you settle in that. It's the nirvana. So that nature is the bound of sorrow, transcend the bounds of the sorrow. So thus things have no arising at any time. I think this we have to say many times, arising means, coming from cause. Coming from cause. So, it is possible you may, you may see or you may imagine, you may conceive when you think about the effect produced by the cause. It appears to you conceptually, effect is coming from the cause. So, that appearance is nothing, there is nothing wrong with that, because you say every effect is coming from the cause. Now the question is, as it appears to you, if you really think that is true, and then the question is, if effect coming from the cause has ever effect remained existing within the cause. So if effect never exists in the cause, but it comes from the cause, which means someone never been to Japan, but he can come from Japan. So we are not saying this is the mistaken, that imagining or conceiving effect coming from the cause is mistake. We're not saying that, right? As it appears, it is being true, and then it's problem. So the questions, why in your systems do you not first perceive form and so forth as arising by virtue of intrinsic nature on the conventional level and then negate it on the ultimate level? Why in your systems do not first perceive form and so forth are arising by virtue of intrinsic existence? Then, once you say, yes, it's a conventionally, yes, there's the color that you can, out there, it exists by itself. And ultimately, yes, no existing. It's almost like you have some problem in the brain. So first you say, yes, it is true, it's out there. And second, you say, with my analysis, that's not being, found.
Mm-hmm.
So, which means the first you say is true, and second you say true, you have a, true truth,
Mm-hmm.
and then just go back and take shower and come back, so think again, or drink more coffee. Yeah. So it's kind of question like that. Yeah. In your systems, do you not first perceive the form and so forth arises by virtue of intrinsic nature on the conventional level, and then the negate it on the ultimate level? It's almost like, first you taste the bread, and that is truly exists. And second, you analyze, and there is no bread that I have ate. So how long you can, contradict yourself, and then you say, ultimately there's nothing, and again you bring your bread close to the tongue, say, yes, it exists, and after they say, wait, it's not exist. So replies now here, just as in itself, just as in itself, the son of the barren woman has no arising, either in reality or in the context of the convention of the everyday world. So he says it is by itself arising. It's not only non-existing in the ultimate, even in the conventional. Likewise, all things, form and so on, do not arise in and of themselves, either through their essence or in terms of the everyday world. So given what is stated here, it is not at all, given what is stated here, it is not at all the case that Madhyamikas defines the conventional existence as existing from erroneous perceived that apprehends things as arising through their own essence. Now we should also note that what is to be negated is explicitly qualified here with the proviso, arising through their own essence. It is from the perspective that Buddha stated that all phenomena are primarily tranquil, free from intrinsic arising, and naturally transcend sorrow. So therefore, throughout all times, no intrinsic arising existing whatsoever. Yeah. Any questions now? I think this pretty much now what is meaning of the conventionally existing, for the Madhyamika, how Madhyamika defines the conventional reality or reality in everyday world. So now, looks like in And it is saying that given what is stated here, it is not at all, it's all the case, Madhyamika defines conventional existing as the existing from erroneous perspective that apprehends things as arising through their essence. We should also note that what is to be negated is explicitly qualified here with a proviso. Proviso means
Proviso is, I think, kind of like a qualifier, like with this thing in it included.
yeah. So what is the qualified? How do you qualify it? This is the negation element, right? This is what you are negating exactly. Here says for the Prasangika school, many times you say the color do exist relatively, conventionally. It exists in everyday world. So, which means you are not negating, you are not annihilating the existence of the color. So, and how do you really define this is the negation element that we are refuting? And the both level, ultimately conventional. So then with Prasangika school may say is the intrinsic property. So now if the intrinsic property is you're only negating, not the color, so then the eye consciousness perceives the color. The intrinsic property of the color is negated, but color is accepted to be existing. So which means another way you're saying that the conventional reality is, how you accept to be existing, how you accept to be real, and that the real is because of the misconception. There's one, this is really kind of very subtle ambiguity, So you're, now here the argument to the Prasangika school. So the conventional realities, the reality is meant by misconceptions. So that misconceptions, any apprehended object of the misconceptions, the equal to the son of the barren woman, non-existing. So which means conventional reality is not real to you. So it's not real, but how do you say it's a reality? It's a conventional reality, reality in everyday world. So is a conventional here is like, conventionally exists. The conventional actually you're pointing to misconception. So with relation to, or in the face of the misconception, it is real, therefore you're saying it is a reality, and then it says, out of misconceptions, you can also see the rabbit horn, the sky flowers. You don't say them as a conventional reality. So now it's at the whole, from the from the argument, we kind of understand that Prasangika school is not accepting what you see is real. It's not real. It's a conventional reality. It's not the real. It mistakenly appears to be reality. It's not a reality. So now again, the Siddhartha school and the essential school says, so we have said that many times. So these are not real. not actually exist. So, yeah, if not exist, and then why is not equal to the son of the barren woman? So now Prasangic school has to come back again and say, son of the barren woman, and color, sound, smell, taste, textures, and all of them in equally unreal, not real, not actual, but it is not seen in everyday world. The son of the barren woman is not seen in everyday world. Color, sound, smell, seeing everyday world. So it is the final final kind of vertical.
Decision.
Final decisions, So the son of a barren woman, you don't see every day. Color, sound, smell, sees every day. Is that the only reason that you think this is conventionally existing? So how about is someone who has the bald man who has a disease for many years, he see every day his hair falling. So does that mean it's a conventional reality for him? Because he see that for so many years.
It seems to me when we're talking about son of a barren woman on the one and
son of the
son of a barren woman on the one hand, and the sky flower or the rabbit horn on the other, it seems we're talking two different categories. The sky flower and the rabbit horn we don't conventionally see as a consensual reality. But the son of a barren woman is logically impossible. So they seem like two distinct cases. You can't just throw them both in the same pot. They're two distinct cases.
So if I cook in a different pot, is it okay?
It depends on the food is good.
The right part and left part, there's son of barren I cook. Rabbit horn on the other side.
I mean, one case depends on logic. One case is simply something that's not experienced.
So, yeah. So I think here, if someone argues saying that, argue with Prasangic school, saying, you say color, sound, smell, taste, textures is not intrinsic, which means to us is not reality, is not actually exist. And Prasangic school said no, it's not equal to like the son of the barren woman. It's not equal to the rabbit horn. So the rabbit horn we don't see in the everyday life, everyday world. And the color, sound, smell in the everyday world. So that's why it's a conventional reality. Now, argument become more settled. So saying, color is not equal to the son of the barren woman, So son of the barren woman is not even see in the conventional. Color we see in the conventional. So now another step. Next step is, how do you call the color as the reality? As a conventional reality? Then Prasangic school says, we question, how do you define this is the conventional reality? In what subject? In what sense it is the reality? The Prasangic school says, in the sense of misconceptions that associating with I consciousness, now things that you see is the reality. Then the Savantika school, minority school, all the essential schools, they says, now we are very happy now. So now finally you says, it's the real to the misconceptions, therefore it's the conventional reality. So real to the wrong perceptions, misconceptions is not the reason, it is not the valid reason to prove, it's the conventional. Someone who believes there is a son of the barren woman, convincingly believing, and that is the misconceptions, and for with that misconceptions, son of the barren woman is the reality. So you are now saying every day we see the color, sound, smell is the reality to the misconception. So, still now, still we see you are really thinking that, things that every day you see is not real, not reality. And the Prasangic school come again saying, yes, this is what I mean. It's not real. And now, the second, when they hear the Prasangic school says, everything that you see is not real. And then the essential school, understood, color, sound, smell, taste, textures for the Prasangic school, it not exist in reality. So there's a problem, misunderstanding. The Prasangic school is not real. Not real means is not equal to non-existing. And the one who hear this, the Prasangic school answers, for them is not real is equal to non-existing. So once they, for the essential school, and then they think, how can you really have a faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, since you don't really, believe, you are not really accepting the things that every day you see is not exist. How can you have faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha? How can you, follow the Four Noble Truths teachings? How can you think there's the law in the cause and effect? So that's a big, argument here. So, now here is saying, maybe now I should come back. I should come in the middle saying that, the color, sound, smell, taste, textures is unreal, is not real to the Prasangic school. But the color, sound, smell, the appearance of the color, sound, smell is the product of your eye sense power. It's the product of the light and, potential element. Appearing, receiving the reflections is the product of the sense power, products of the light and the potential element. So we are not denying, we are not saying there's nothing to be reflected in your eye sense power as a color. Yes, we say that's the reflections. Therefore, it is mere reflection. Therefore, it is not real. So if you understand that, right away you can go to the lucky elephant. So there's the celebrations. So this is very, 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 what do you call it, settled? Yeah. So it's, I think, the years and years, and Savantika school, minority school, and always find there's something, something that is not correct. The way the Prasangic school, Chandrakirti and the Buddha does, negating intrinsic property is not really a good idea. In Prasangik school, this is the only way to see the liberation. And I have, by negating, refuting intrinsic property, I have a perfect faith in the law and cause and effect. I have perfect faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So the final is reflections is there. And there's a reflections is there. There's something to smell to the nose sense power. There's something to hear to the eye consciousness. We are not denying it. And that being heard sound is the product of the ear sense power and the vibrations in the elements and outside of it, you know.
I'm not quite sure why you're using the term reflection rather than appearance. I mean, there's a difference. Like a rainbow is not a reflection, it's a kind of an appearance of a bunch of interdependencies. I guess you can say reflection also exists as interdependencies. Maybe that's what you mean. A reflection to me is a little tangential. It sounds like you know, I put my face in front of a mirror and I see the reflection. But a rainbow is more, God, I forget the word that's used. But anyhow, it's a very obvious interdependent arising. It's not reflecting anything to me.
I think that's also a very good question. That because you see reflections means different from, this is what, when you think reflections, the way you reflect, right? Where you reflect, so if you see there's something to be reflect to the eye consciousness. So which means, you think there is color out there, and then color casting its aspect to the sense power. Prasangika school says there is no reflections, what is reflected in the eye. So the color do not cast its image to the sense power. Sense power has reflected, that is called color. And all the school, all the Buddhist school, accepted the color is the one which has cast its image or the reflection to the sense power, which means color is independent from the eye sense power. The Prasangika school says, there is no reflections, different from what it has reflected in the eye. I think, we have gone through the 70 stanzas, the 70 stanzas negation of the objective, object of perceptions. So, so maybe I should say, we should discuss that more often then, probably. There's some kind of sensible. And the Prasangika school, reflections is no different from what it has reflected. There is no something out there to be cast image to there. So in order for something to be cast its image, then they receive the eye sense for reflection, then the color must exist independent from the eye sense power. So, and then again, there's the objective. So I think the main point is the Chandrakirti is trying to say is if you really want to see the nirvana, it's like even in a very how's that intellectual. If you try to see the nirvana, what is nirvana is. So the mind being totally absent of any kind of, intrinsic reality. When the mind sees there's no intrinsic reality whatsoever, with the color, with the smell, with the taste, with the textures, with all kind of mental objects, totally absence. When the mind sees that, at that time, the mind experiences, oh, this is like nirvana. So then the mind, constantly, trying to go there many times. Once you totally settle into that, and then that says there is a non-returner. Now there is no possible, no space to generate, to produce any kind of negative emotions, no emotional at all, because you see everything as it is. So, I think, see, the nirvana, what is nirvana means, and how is nirvana look like? Nirvana is look like when the mind sees everywhere, forever, and from the beginning, right from the beginning, but this is ever absence. There's nothing. No intrinsic, there's nothing objective. So that, is that absence of objective is not because you have refuted, not because you have negated, not because of the Buddha says everything is empty. It's primordial from the beginning. They are absence of intrinsic. So this is why when I open the eye with the light, I can see things. So that relatively I can see. Relatively I can smell. Relatively I can hear things. Which means from the beginning, there is no sound intrinsically exist. There's no sound out there coming from someone's mouth and traveling, miles, and then, reach your eardrum. So I think even the scientists, they also say that there is no sound, by itself. Sound is there when the wave, the vibrations, contacts, right, with the air sense power, air drum, and there's something to be heard, which means sound do not really walking or, how's that, traveling on the wave of the element of the wind. So if sometimes the scientists use the term ether, so that means it gives you the imaginations, or sound is on the top of the wind, the air, and this air is carrying the sound. So almost like a person walking on the road, right? Maybe there's no ether. Trying to touch the son of barren woman.
My computer about to die. My iPad. I'm about to turn it off. Turn on another.
Okay, yeah, very few minutes. Any questions? Then we can start. I hope you can last for 2 minutes. Oh, it's gone. Logan, you have questions?
No, just scribble. We're good.
So, no questions? Oh, there is come back. Happy birthday. Chanju simjo rinpoche, maje bana jeju, geba nyamba, meba nyamba, konde konde pewa. Tonye tawa rinpoche, maje bana jeju, geba nyamba, meba nyamba, konde konde pewa. Pama simje tamje, dedan tenju, ngendo tamje, tato tongwa. Chanju simba kanda sushupe, deda kunje, molom drupjiru. Kare rawe kobe shimazu, pena dewa maru juwe. Jere sama, tenzin jazu yishabe, side bado tenju.
May the precious body mind not yet born arise and grow. May the point of no decline may increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born arise and grow. May the point of no decline may increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all Father and Mother sentient beings have all happiness, and may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. O powerful Chandrakirti cleansing vessel, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.